I'm joined by Rafe Heydel-Mankoo, royal commentator, expert, GB News regular. I said before the break, there they were, Sandringham, Christmas, Prince Andrew, very much, it would appear, back in the fold. Even Fergie, for the first time in nearly 30 years, was back there. And then we get the Epstein files. And look, we can believe what we want to believe. We can say it's all made up. But it does suggest that as part of the British Virgin Islands, the accusation is he took place in an underage orgy and was also accused of groping the boobs of an alleged sex slave. We had years of this already, but what does this do?
Yeah, well, the first thing to say is that none of this is new. These aren't new allegations. So the orgy and so forth, this is Jane Doe 3, who we presume is Giuffre. And so we know about these 3 allegations of sex, one in London, one in the New York mansion of Epstein, and one in the island. And the groping of the breasts was alleged by Joanna Soberg, and that was alleged first in 2019. What's important about this release of documents is that we now have the sworn testimony, the depositions and the statements that back up these allegations. That's why there's now added weight, and there's now incentive for investigative journalists to do their own digging. I mean, it's certainly not a happy new year for Prince Andrew, and he has to wonder whether he'll ever be able to escape the clutches of this story. But we're talking about 950 pages of documents. This is just the first tranche. There are thousands of more documents to come, and there are a total of 170 people named here, including, of course, Bill Clinton, who's mentioned 50 times. Prince Andrew's mentioned 67 times, and everybody from Michael Jackson to, indeed, Stephen Hawking is mentioned. But, of course, it must be said, just having your name listed here doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. This is not a little black book of sex offenders. These are people who've had some connection and some capacity with Epstein over the years.
That's right. And it might be that they've met or they've been to his apartment in New York, which many people in business and media did over the years. Andrew, of course, fiercely denying all of this, as he always has. But, Rafe, how does he handle this? What does he do?
Well, of course, it's hard to see what the royal family can do in terms of this, because they've really gone as far as they can go. They've stripped him of his Royal Highness title. He's lost all of his honorary military appointments and titles, all of his patronages. He can't wear uniform. He's basically sequestered at the Royal Lodge, Windsor. The King and Prince William have both been the driving forces, even during the Queen's reign, behind ensuring that he keeps a low profile. Prince Andrew has been sort of manoeuvring behind the scenes to try to slowly inch his way back into public life. I think there needs to be a firm decision now made to tell him there's no chance of that ever happening. Look, he's 63 years of age. He's 2 years away from retirement anyway.
But Rafe,
I think he should just view this. He needs to just retire.
But none of this has been proven.
But that's the point I wanted to get onto. Look, he's not guilty of anything. He's denied any wrongdoing, and no court of law finds him guilty. But when you're a prince of the realm, that doesn't really matter. He's been found guilty in the eyes of the public, and public opinion matters here.
Brutal,
the support for the monarchy depends upon public support. And, he was willing, as a brave naval soldier, to pay the ultimate sacrifice in the Falklands War. It's now time for him again to pay another sacrifice and go into retirement for the good of king and country. He did it for queen and country, now for king. It may be unfair and unjust, but I think that's the service he needs to do to the crown.
You feel that pretty strongly, don't you?
Well, I think the interest of the monarchy must be supreme, and he's of an age now anywhere where he can retire gracefully. There's every chance for his daughters to take up his torch if they want to, but I just think the time has come essentially for him to stop becoming a distraction. We've had that already with the Sussexes. The king doesn't need all of this in his first, couple of years as king.
Rafe, you're probably right. But something about it feels...
I understand that.
I still believe that you should be innocent until you are proven guilty.
I agree.
And I also get the court of public opinion stuff. And he's not a friend of mine. I've never met him. But just something here says to me, all these accusations, they may be right, they may be wrong, but I just feel uncomfortable.
But he has a role in the private life of the royal family. We see him at Sandringham, we'll be seeing him at events. Yeah. It's just a question of not having a formal official role in public as a working royal. And I think that's a happy compromise.
Rafe, thank you.